One of the most common questions that I get asked here in the Pokemon community is, where do I start? How do I first get into Pokemon collecting and Pokemon investing? Today, that's our conversation. What's going on, Funhouse crew? Welcome back to the channel, TCG Funhouse, where we open up Pokemon cards, we talk about Pokemon cards, but more importantly than anything else in the history of the entire world, I'm here to have fun with you guys here in the Pokemon community. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how you get started collecting the Pokemon TCG. Sometimes it's referred to as Pokemon investing as well. I like to mix the two together because I think it's important to where when you're building that Pokemon card collection that you want, right? That Pokemon collection of your dreams, it's really, really important, at least to me, to also have a collection that is going to increase in value over time. I do understand that that is not everybody's focus, and that is 100% okay. Do not be stressed out about prices all of the time. Some of you guys are aware here in my channel that Chandelure is my favorite Pokemon, and I do enjoy collecting Chandelure cards. So, like, big shout out to Fusion Strike, who gave us all those new Chandelure cards, which I love so much. I have been collecting them. It doesn't mean that that is going to be my big investable asset that I'm buying, and that's okay, adding those to my collection, because it gives me those endorphins. It gives me that happiness when I open up my binder of Chandelure cards, and it's just like, hey, that's my favorite Pokemon. That's pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean? But before we move on into the video, guys, I like to give back. And every single month, I give away a sealed Pokemon product here on the channel. So if you're new, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. Or if you just need a refresher on how to get your entry details for the brand new giveaway that we have going on, which is the Zacian V-Union Special Collection right here. That has 4 booster packs inside in this very unique Zacian 4-piece V-Union collectible card. I love this so much. All your entry details are going to be at the end of the video, and if you are familiar with how we do things here, it's the same as every other monthly giveaway that we have. Also, big announcement, our Patreon is officially live. That's right, I struggled with the idea of opening a Patreon for a very long time, but I decided to go ahead and go for it and pull the trigger on it to really help me make my dreams come true of owning my own brick and mortar store one day and turning something like this content creation into, just my job. I want this to be my full-time gig, is running. Basically, this is what I want to do. I want to run a reality TV show based around the Pokemon TCG out of my brick and mortar store. So I'm an LGS, and then I get to run a reality show out of it, very similar to something like Comic Book Men, if you guys have seen that, but strictly based around trading cards and anime and stuff like that. So I think it'd be really cool. That's my dreams. If you guys want to support me and everything that could be coming down the pipeline here in the future, go check out my Patreon, guys. Link in the description below. Plus, there's a couple of cool diddly-doos in there as well. But the first thing that I want to talk about here in terms of Pokemon collection building and Pokemon investing, the one way to remove massive amounts of stress is to find a dollar amount that fits you, that you can afford to spend, whether it's extra income or unneeded money, or, unneeded money. Everybody needs money. I'll take any money that's out there. I mean, come on. But any basically extra money that you have that you're able to put into something that could be considered like an investable asset or just a hobby, right? If you're trying to switch hobbies over to Pokemon and stuff like that, don't overspend. The worst thing that you can do is spend too much money and buy things that you can't afford. That's why I have my budget videos here on YouTube, because I have a collection based on a Pokemon TCG budget that I give myself, whether it's weekly or monthly or whatever, and I make sure that I do not overspend, because that is the number one way to obtain stress in the hobby, is to overspend. If you can't afford a base set booster box at $15,000, $16,000 do not go buy a base set booster box at $15,000, $16,000 because that's what certain content creators tell you what to do, because that's what people in the market tell you what to do. It's really important that you set yourself these limitations and these guidelines so that way you're not overspending and causing yourself to stress out over it. Because what happens is if you overspend, then you might end up in a situation where you have to sell a lot sooner than you want to just to do some of your basic necessities in life. And that could cause you to selling things at the wrong time, because just like any other asset, you want to buy the valleys and sell the peaks, right? That's how you are a successful hobbyist in the land of the Pokemon TCG. And the worst way to try to make that happen is to stress yourself out, overspend, and sell at the wrong time and buy at the wrong time. So just keep that in mind. Set yourself that floor price, avoid the stress. And coming to my second point here, piggybacking off of when I said, certain people were telling you to buy things, do your own research. Before you do anything else, do your own research. I would never tell you that you should only be watching TCG Funhouse videos and taking your advice from that and then moving forward. Watch as many YouTubers as you want. Do as many research, capabilities that you have on any websites that are out there right now and obtain your own information. It is very important that you make your own decisions. Don't blindly follow content creators, even like myself, influencers, anything like that in the Pokemon market. Yes, it's cool to watch those videos because there's a lot of advice and information and knowledge out there that people like to share, but don't make those people your only source of where you're getting your information from. I get messages all the time that are like, hey, should I buy this? Should I buy that? What about this card? What about that card? I try to talk to every single one of you guys. I love chatting with you guys. But if you're strictly making decisions based on the response that I'm going to give you, or maybe some other Pokemon content creators are going to give you, I completely think you're doing the wrong thing. Seriously, do your own research. Go to eBay sold listings. Go to TCG marketplace. Go to other places that might be smaller. Check out Mercari. Check out Amazon listings. Check out everything that's available to you. Go down to your local LGS and talk to the owner. Go down to a Pokemon TCG tournament and get everybody else's thoughts on manners and stuff like that. So always do all those things. Be your own advocate. Nobody in this community is going to be the advocate for you. You need to be your own advocate when making your own decisions and making your own purchases. So make sure you do that like ASAP. That needs to be like one of the strongest things that you hold on to during your entire Pokemon collection / investing journey. Now, that being said, I am going to move forward and give you guys a really good detailed breakdown of the facts that I created here on the TCG Funhouse YouTube channel. When I started creating these undervalued card series and these Pokemon investing series and things like that, I came up with this acronym. I say it in most of my videos that I do. It's called the TCG Funhouse Facts. F stands for fan favorites, A stands for affordability, C for condition, T for trends, and S for supply / rarity. We're going to deep dive into every single one of those abbreviations. What do you call those? Every single one of those letters, and give you guys why I think they're important. So maybe you can get a little bit from that as well. So we're going to be starting off with F here, which equals fan favorites. And if you've been in the Pokemon TCG at all whatsoever, you know that some Pokemon carry better and bigger values long-term or even short-term than others, right? And the perfect example is everybody knows that Charizard is the most important Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG for collectors. Believe it or not, Charizard has never really been a good Pokemon to play in a deck. It just hasn't been. But for collectors, it has always been the cream of the crop since base set. Since base set came out in 1999, the Charizard has always been the most valuable card since day one. And to this day, every time a set comes out with the Charizard is always the most expensive card in this set. And anytime a year has a set where there's a Charizard printed, it's always the most expensive card of the year. Just go back and look at this year. there's actually been a couple of interesting factors right now where the alternate art Umbreon is carrying great value, and the Rainbow Pikachu as well is a very unique card. But for the most part, some of the safest buys right now in the entire year of 2021 is the shiny Charizard from Shining Fates. It just is. The Charizard reprint from Celebrations and the Metal Charizard from Celebrations as well. Those are probably three of the most collectible and investable cards for the entire year of 2021. Now, that being said, there are plenty of other Pokemon that carry good value as well, and that would be Lugia, Mew, Mewtwo, Gengar, Rayquaza, Pikachus, and Eevees. They all carry pretty decent value at the end of the day. The latter, the Pikachu and Eevee, they mostly come out in like common cards and stuff like that, but it just goes to show you that when they give us a Rainbow Pikachu like they did in Vivid Voltage, it carried the entire set. Like, it carried the entire set. So if they're going to give us Eevees like that as well, Rainbow Eevee, Alternate Art Eevee, things like that, I think they're going to be very well sought after by collectors at the end of the day. Collect what you want to collect. Collect what makes you happy. But if you're making purchases strictly for financial reasons, you need to focus on these fan favorite Pokemon because they're going to carry long-term and short-term. They just are. If you're a huge double fan, power to you. Collect all the doubles that you want, but your binder right now is probably going to be worth the same as your double binder is going to be in 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. It's not going to go up in price. It might go up in price 10%, 12% just because of the age, but those cards just aren't going to be worth selling for hundreds and thousands of dollars later on down the road like you would get with Charizard cards or Rayquaza alternate arts, things like that, guys. That's my take on fan favorites. And the other thing is, it's much easier to resell fan favorites. If you do need to sell your collection for any particular reason whatsoever, whether it's an emergency or you have reached retirement or whatever, it's much easier and faster to sell your Charizards, your Eevees, your Lugias than it is to sell doubles and Orbitals and whatever else might happen. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think purchasing fan favorites is very, very important when you're getting started into Pokemon collecting / investing. A stands for affordability, and this is a big one for me. I mentioned earlier that I set myself a budget, and I really recommend that you guys set yourself a budget as well. And I don't really need to get too much more into it because I spoke a lot about it earlier on in the video, but you got to find out what sort of collector you are. There's a couple of different kinds of collectors when it comes to budget and affordability, right? Would you rather buy one $100 card or 5 $20 cards? The percentages in growth work out a little bit differently. Are you going to bank on that $20 card going up 5 times the price over that $100 card? Maybe that only goes up twice the price. Now all of a sudden, you're sitting on a lot of 5 cards that's worth more than that one card is. And then also, if you do ever get to the point where you need to sell your collection, you can just sell a portion of your collection. If I have those 5 $20 cards that are now worth $50, I can sell 3 of them, bank my $150, still have 2 from my collection to where I still made a little bit of money at the end of the day, and I still have 2 of those to carry for long-term hold, to where if I have the $100 card, and it goes up 50% in price, and now it's worth $150. I have to sell it, get rid of it. Yes, I still profited my $50, but now I'm out any additional cards for long-term growth at the same token. So that's the way that I look at it. I know other people who say the exact opposite. They say you don't want a bunch of $20 and $30 cards. You want that $100 card. You want that $200 card. I know people that would sell or trade like an entire master set of like an Evolving Skies for one of the alternate art Rayquaza VMAXs. It just depends on what you want to do. So the only thing I would say about that is be consistent. Pick what you like and do that aspect of it. It's a lot easier to figure out what you're looking for, figure out what you want to buy, what you want to sell, and things like that. Just figure out your price margins, your price points, and stick to it. C stands for condition, guys, and this one is very, very easy to understand. You do not want a bunch of beat to crap cards in your collection, especially if you're buying modern Pokemon TCG cards. The cards now are so modern and they're so pack fresh and new, there's no reason that you should be collecting, investing, or buying in anything that is damaged. It could be dented, it could be creased, it could be scratches on the hollow, scratches on the back of the card. Avoid those at all costs, in particular on the modern cards. There is no reason for it. In a day and age where we're having tons of printing errors and tons of cutting errors, it can be a little bit harder to find that perfect card. Now, I only buy raw. I don't buy PSA graded cards. I don't buy BGS graded cards because I don't see the value of another company just putting their case on it and saying, this card is good to go. I understand where it does come from that, where people can get more security from that. They really can. But as we see from the Logan Paul issue that's going on here in that authentication company, it is just stripe full of, drama, misuse, and they do things they shouldn't be doing. So it's really, really hard to trust authentication companies and stuff nowadays. I'm not saying that PSA is a bad company or BGS is a bad company, but rumor has it there are some graded fake cards out there. TCA Gaming just sent out some cards, not just, but he sent out some packs to get graded, and they literally got opened up before they got graded. And he was like, what happened here? So authentication companies and grading companies really are something that you need to do your own research on and figure out what you want to do. Me, I'm just a raw card collector, and most Pokemon collectors / investors are. You buy the cards raw, you send them out to get graded. That's what you do as a Pokemon investor / collector if you're looking to resell and make a little bit of money, which is not a bad thing. Don't let people convince you that buying cards, grading them and selling them, or buying cards at a lower price to resell and flip for a higher price is negative. It's not. It's how you are going to build your collection and put the money back into the hobby, so it's not negative. Don't take that. But off on a tangent there for a second. In terms of condition, even with vintage cards, I recommend only going near mint or better. And I say this all the time in my undervalued cards investments. When I talk about vintage cards, you want to try to stick with near mint. I would sometimes go to a lightly played if it was a grail card or if it was a very, very expensive card otherwise. But if you're still in that range of affordability, like in my letter A, only go for the near mint. There's no reason to buy cards that are already beat up, especially since you know how to protect your cards, and I know how to protect my cards better using Dragon Shield and Titan Shield products. Link in description below for affiliates. If you want to support the channel, feel free to use those links, and then you can get some stuff back while supporting the channel as well. Some of the best card protectors on the market. But as long as you know what you're doing in terms of protecting your cards, don't worry about what other people did to the cards. Just buy your near mint, buy your pack fresh cards, and move on from that. Don't buy cards that are already beat up. T stands for trends. After my big long rambling on C, I think I covered a couple of different things in C that weren't part of C, but that's just what happens here. As shit comes to my brain, I say it. T stands for trends, guys. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. You want to buy in the valleys and sell at the peaks. And I will give you the perfect example. I've used this example on my Pokemon TCG videos before when evolutions started to explode. I had a bunch of sealed booster packs and I had a bunch of holo Charizard reprints. Do you know what I did? I sold every single product for evolutions that I had because I knew that it was not sustainable. I knew that Evolutions booster packs at $30 to $35 a piece was absolutely freaking ridiculous, considering that 9 out of 10 of them have a Doug Trio inside. I'm just going to say, if you open Evolutions, you know what I mean. And the Charizards themselves, those Charizards were consistently worth $50 to $60 forever since the set was released. Nostalgia hit. People saw Logan Paul with his base set Charizard, and they said, I want one of those. Oh, I can't afford one of those, but I can afford one of these Evolutions Charizards. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy those up. And they got up to about $150 to $175 a piece. A piece. Crazy to me. I sold all that I had. I knew it was not sustainable. I knew that that was not the market for that particular card. I sold everything that I had. And guess where the prices are now? An average Evolutions booster pack is around $12 to $14, and the Charizard holographic is around $50 to $60 again, like it was before the boom. So now that I've sold all of my single holo Charizard cards for a 300% profit, a 350% profit, I can just go right back over to TCG Player and buy near mint holographic Charizards again at that $50 price range to make sure I still have my collection of Zard cards, and yet now I have an additional couple $100, few $100 to put right back into the Pokemon TCG and build my collection even more. You have to follow the trends like this. And another thing that I'm going to talk about for trends, don't buy cards when the set first releases. I just made a video last Friday about 5 crazy facts where I talked about how the Fusion Strike cards, chase cards, the Mew, the Gengar, and the Espeon have now fallen in price 50% of their value when the set first came out. They were all three of those cards were between $150 and $200, and right now they're in between $75 and $95, which is why you need to be smart with your decisions. Know when your values are going to hit. Don't buy singles from a set until it's been out for at least 6 months, maybe even more, because I guarantee you these cards are going to come down even more. I'm really surprised at the way that Evolving Skies is holding their prices, but pay attention to the trends. TCG Player has a good market trend bar graph or line graph, haven't been to math class in a long time. A line graph where it shows you how the markets ebb and flow around these things, and you can always go to eBay sold listings, look at the way the car sold last month, this week, yesterday. You can break down the filter as much as you want and find the trends for prices on selling cards and make your own decisions. Do you think this is the floor? Do you think this is the ceiling? Should I buy? Should I sell? Make sure you guys are doing your own research, but follow the market trends. You're going to be way more successful and actually have more money to put back in the hobby if you're following the trends. And the last letter here on the TCG Funhouse facts is S for supply/rarity, and it might be self-explanatory, but you don't want to fill up your entire collection on common Pokemon cards, uncommon Pokemon cards, things like that. Even for the most part, the standard Vs, even don't really, that's why I mentioned Orbeetle earlier, because I was looking at it. There's a V card right there. They're not going to carry the value that you're looking for. Again, if that's what you want to collect, you're more than welcome to collect it. We're talking about with the facts, specifically making decisions based around financials, right? So you want to work on that rare/supply. How many of them are there? How many are out there? How many Rainbow Pikachus are there compared to Pikachu Vs? You know what I mean? First edition cards is another way to determine rarity. First edition Wizards of the Coast cards are significantly more rare than the uncommon printed or the unlimited printed versions, which kind of puts like a first edition common card in the same style of rarity as like a regular rare from Wizards of the Coast. So when you know and you're semi-educated on what you're looking at, you can make better decisions, and you'll understand why a first edition Jungle Eevee is going to be a much better buy and hold than a Jungle Eevee from Unlimited. It just is. So focus on those rarities. Focus on products that have the lack of supply. And another example is if you're a sealed collector, Hidden Fates is one of the best sets for a sealed collection right now. It 100% is. But you'll notice over on eBay and even on TCG Player under the sealed product, the 3-packs of Mew and Mewtwo are actually more expensive than the 4-packs of Charizard, Raichu, and Gyarados for the sealed collection items. And that's because how much they were printed. The 10s that featured the Charizard, Gyarados, and Raichu were some of the most printed Pokemon product of the last 3 years. Hidden Fates was such an amazing set that everybody wanted. They kept just throwing those 10s out there, and then they got exclusive Walmart boxes that were still some of the most common found product out on the shelves, right? But the Mew and Mewtwo 3-pack boxes only got one print run. They only went during the first wave of Hidden Fates print, which means no matter what, I think it was early 2020 that set came out, or late 2019, one or the other. That only one print run. That's it. And it's been statistically proven that the first print run for Hidden Fates also had much better hits, pull rates than later print runs of Hidden Fates. So there's more likelihood of like the Charizard or whatever being inside those 3-packs than the later print runs. But because that product is so much more scarce and so much more limited, even though it has one less pack, it's worth more than the ones that were printed into oblivion. And that's another reason why you want to look for things like the exclusive GameStop Pikachu box and the exclusive Walmart Reshazard box. Those are big buys right now. You may not think so because they're still readily available online or readily available inside of your retailers, but eventually those boxes are going to go away and people are going to want them to their collection at the end of the day because they have some fan favorite Pokemon on them and are actually going to be considered quite scarce and rare because you couldn't pick them up on Amazon or you couldn't pick them up on Target, all the other websites, all the other retailers that you get Pokemon cards. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with stuff. Think about that supply/rarity when you're making purchases. And the last thing I want to talk about here real quick is the negativity. Steer clear of any negativity that you may experience inside the Pokemon TCG. As long as you're doing your own research and you're making your own educated purchases, you don't really need to worry about what other people have to say. Some people might be telling you you're making stupid decisions. You might disagree. I might disagree. I might completely agree. Don't worry about being validated in your own purchases. As soon as you pull the trigger and you buy that card, be happy with what you have. Nobody shoots 1,000%. Nobody's going to hit 100 of the shots that they take. It isn't going to happen. But as long as you are not worried about what other people are saying and, what your end goal is, strive towards that. Don't worry about anything else. Do your own research. Set yourself a budget. If you want to, follow the TCG Funhouse facts. Those are some of the recommendations that I have for you. And let me know how it turns out and how you've been doing so far down in the comment section below. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. That's how you can end up starting and getting into the hobby of Pokemon TCG collecting/investing. Make sure you guys drop a sub here on the channel. We post 4 Pokemon-related content videos every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. So drop a sub, hit that notification bell. Plus, guys, don't miss the Gym Leaders podcast coming up on Wednesday. So much fun on all your audio platforms, plus here on YouTube. Also, if you want to join a membership, that's below as well. Patreon down below. Help me reach my dream, guys. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned to the end of today's video. That's right, it's time for you guys to get your entry details for the giveaway for the month of February. And it's a doozy. It is a doozy. V-Union Collection Box, guys. Zacian V-Union Collection Box is what we're giving away. If you watched any of my unboxings recently, you saw that I picked this up on GameStop.com where they had them available at the time. And I want to share with you guys one of my favorite items to add to a sealed collection right now. I think these 4 put together cards are going to be very special, unique cards in the future. And these V-Union boxes, all of them, the Mewtwo, Greninja, Pikachu, Zacian, we're probably going to get a Morpeko box as well, are definitely worth adding to a sealed collection, guys. So that's what I'm giving away, and you get your entry details by being a subscriber here on the channel. You must leave a like on this video, and you can get an entry for every single video in the month of February. But you got to do that on every video. You got to be a subscriber, you got to hit the like button on all those videos, and you have to leave a comment. I do a comment picker at the end of the month, so if you did not leave a comment, you will not get your entry for that video because that's how they are selected. That being said, guys, let me know. Are you excited? Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful night.